Breaking news. Shetima's imminent disqualification rattles APC. Tension in Tinubu's camp as evidence shows Shetima not qualified to run. There is palpable tension in the camp of the Progressives Congress APC presidential and vice presidential candidates Alhaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Senator Kashim Ibrahim Shetima respectively, as evidence shows that Shetima is not qualified to contest the election. This was deduced from two documents submitted by Senator Shetima to the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), certified true copies CTC of which were obtained by Mr. Peter Gregory Obi and his party, the Labour Party LP. The first document, dated July 14, 2022, showed one Ibrahim Kabir Masari, who was originally presented as the running mate to Tinubu, withdrawing his candidacy for Shetima. The document was, however, received and stamped by INEC on July 15, 2022. The second document, dated July 15, 2022, showed Shetima, who was originally the candidate of Borno Central Senatorial District, withdrawing his candidacy for Odat and E. Lawan Kaka Shehu. The document was also received and stamped by INEC on July 15, 2022. It could be recalled that Labour Party or Peter Obi had petitioned the Presidential Election Petition Court to disqualify Shetima, as he was, at the time of the election, not qualified to contest the election. The petitioners averred that on the July 14, 2022, Shetima, contrary to the provisions of the Electoral Act 2022, while still being a senatorial candidate for Borno Central constituency, knowingly allowed himself to be nominated as the vice presidential candidate to Tinubu on the platform of APC, and became the new candidate for the office of the vice president on that date. 14 July 2022, the petitioners relied on Form EC 11A signed by the Shetima and INEC officials on that same July 14, 2022. Labour Party or Peter Obi contended the first respondent was a candidate nominated by the fourth respondent for the office of Senate in the Borno Central Senatorial constituency until July 15, 2022, when he signed the Independent National Electoral Commission senatorial election notice of withdrawal of candidate purporting to withdraw from the contest, called Form EC 11C. The petitioners hereby plead and shall at the trial rely on I affidavit and personal particulars Form EC9, submitted by the third respondent for Borno Central Senatorial constituency, sworn to on 14 June 2022, and received by the first respondent on 17 June 2022. EI affidavit in support or personal particulars Form EC9, submitted by the third respondent for the office of the vice presidential candidate for the constituency of Nigeria, the Federal Republic of Nigeria, received by the as one respondent. On 15 July 2022, notice of withdrawal of candidate pursuant to Section 33 of the Electoral Act 2022, Form EC 11A, dated July 14, 2022, signed by the third respondent as the new candidate vice presidential of the All Progressives Congress, and also containing the passport picture of the third respondent as new candidate. If notice of withdrawal of candidate pursuant to Section 33 of the Electoral Act 2022, Form EC 11C, dated July 15, 2022, signed by the third respondent as the withdrawing candidate of the All Progressives Congress for Borno Central Senatorial constituency, and also containing the passport picture of the third respondent, as at the time the third respondent purportedly became a vice presidential candidate, he was still the nominated senatorial candidate of the fourth respondent for the senatorial election for the Borno Central Senatorial constituency. The petitioners shall contend at the trial that the purported sponsorship of the second and third respondents by the fourth respondent was rendered invalid by reason of the third respondent knowingly allowing himself to be nominated as the vice presidential candidate whilst he was still a senatorial candidate for the Borno Central constituency. The petitioners shall further contend that for this reason, the votes purportedly recorded for the second respondent at the contested presidential election were or are wasted votes and ought to be disregarded. Responding to the petition, however, Tinubu told the Presidential Election Petition Court that his running mate is eminently qualified to contest the 2023 presidential election, in the application of his response to the Peter Obi or Labour Party petition before the tribunal. Tinubu claimed that as at July 14, 2022, when he was nominated as the APC vice presidential candidate, Shetima was no longer APC's senatorial candidate for the Borno Central senatorial election. According to him, the notice of withdrawal signed by Shetima on July 6, 2022, was conveyed by officials on the July 15, 2022, to INEC to enable APC present him to INEC as its vice presidential candidate. He further claimed that the date on the notice of withdrawal is not the date Shetima withdrew from contesting as a senatorial candidate for the Borno Central senatorial election. Tinubu's proposal is, however, considered ridiculous because APC and INEC differed in their positions. APC said that Shetima was nominated for VP on the 14th of July, though INEC did not receive his withdrawal notice immediately. Therefore, they will stick to his withdrawal date as the day he wrote the letter, and not the day received and stamped by INEC on July 15, 2022. INEC, on the other hand, said that Shetima wrote the letter of withdrawal on July 6, but that it did not receive the letter until July 13, hence, concluded that Shetima withdrew on the 6th. Reacting to the various positions of APC and INEC, a newsband analyst who spoke on condition of anonymity opined, "What INEC is saying is that Shetima wrote a letter of withdrawal on July 6, but the letter didn't get to INEC until 13th of July. Therefore, Shetima withdrew on the 6th. Does that sound logical?" APC is saying that Shetima was nominated for VP on the 14th of July, although INEC hadn't received his withdrawal notice yet. Therefore, they will stick to his withdrawal date as the day he wrote the letter, and not the day INEC received it. APC said the letter was dated July 6, but delivered to INEC on July 15. INEC said the letter was dated July 6, but was received on the 13th. Anyone can write a notice of withdrawal to INEC, but leave it at home for as long as they want. But until the letter is in their hands and stamped as received, INEC can't say they received it earlier or attempt to backdate that withdrawal. The most important thing is both of them should submit their contradictory evidences in court. That's when they'll know that the day a letter was received is the day that counts, not the days it took it to arrive. Abuya from Borno. In the meantime, the Presidential Election Tribunal will kick off on the 10th, 12th, and May 13, 2023.